Another week. That means it's time for another edition of Ask Glazer, joined by who else? The segment's named after him, NFL on Fox insider Jay Glazer. Good to see you again, man.
We got to do something about this dress code thing that we got here, though.
You dress it up.
Two totally different things, right?
I mean,
I'm being told dress up like it's a bar mitzvah or a wedding. You're being told like dress up like it's Glazer on a Tuesday night.
That's the podcast first national TV schism right there. I feel like, you know. If I'll
wear well.
Thank you very much.
I'm great in my Michael Strahan collection suit.
You see that? The plug to go with the inside information. We love it.
Dudes out. Gotta help them out.
I'll dress it up. I'll get a tie. I gotta dig a tie out of my closet.
I thought that was dressed up.
For me it is. All right. Quarterback theme to Ask Glazer this week. We just saw the New York Jets fall again. Mm-hmm. Not a pretty watch on offense, and so I understand the question from Sports Jive. He says, are the Jets really going to stick with Zach Wilson? I'm dying to know as well.
Look, I reported before the game that was the plan, that they wanted to stick with Zach Wilson, and that was it all along. They also realized, look, without Aaron Rodgers there, it's a lot harder for Zach Wilson. And look, as we're doing this right now, I know Robert Saleh is going to meet with the media right now, but this was the plan going into the game. They wanted a veteran quarterback later on there, still sticking with Zach Wilson, but after a game like today, they're going to, I'm sure, have to go back and look and go, man, is this really going to be what we do, who we stick with? And, the big thing with Zach was confidence last year. And I think he lost it last year, had a lot of it with Aaron Rodgers around this year, but with Aaron not there the last couple of weeks, confidence probably waning there. The offensive line is banged up also. I think they have to go back and really take a hard look at what they're going to do now moving forward. But I do know going into the game, that was their intention.
And it sounds great. I do wonder, losses have a way of changing your opinion about what you need to do. I'm fascinated to see how that moves forward. Question from Sunita Convos. She says, another quarterback in turmoil. Chicago Bears taking on the Kansas City Chiefs this week. What do you see as the long-term outlook here, and how, we know it hasn't looked good in Chicago, but how worried should Bears fans be about the Bears' long-term commitment to Justin Fields?
Well, here's the thing. Justin Fields has to earn the long-term commitment, right? The current regime was the one who drafted him, so he has to earn it from them. Last year, he showed he could do a lot with his legs. I think this offseason, they really did a lot of work to hopefully start, adding a lot of that passing game. That hasn't happened yet, and this is obviously, being filmed before they're playing the Chiefs. But they were hoping that he would start pulling it down a lot faster and start running, start using more of that dual threat as well. As they get that dual threat back, then they could start expanding on the passing game. But it's also, remember, they have 2 number-1 picks, or first-round picks for next year's draft, so they have the ammo if he's not the answer to get somebody else.
Absolutely. Poles and Matt Eberflus did not draft Justin Fields, so that's something to watch. Love this question from Joni Hagler. I'm curious about it, too. Cowboys lose Trevon Diggs going into this week. We've already seen several high-profile injuries. Why do you think September has been so bad for early season injuries, for season-ending injuries in the first few weeks of the season?
It's like this every year. It's not just this year. It's every year. So you're kind of coming out of training camps there that it's like you're going from sparring to full contact fights all of a sudden constantly, and it's just going to happen. It's a violent sport. Every year, every time we've done this Ask Glazer for the last couple of years, if somebody's asked the same question, why are there so many injuries here in September? It happens every September.
Love this one. Looking ahead again, I said it was a quarterback-themed segment. Joe Burrow, iffy for Monday Night Football against the Rams. In or out? What's the latest on where he stands?
So earlier in the week, even his teammates didn't think he was going to play. He's tough, man. Joe is tough. And so yesterday, he took some scout team reps, I think, to try and push the coaches in the front office, say, look, I could do this. Then this morning on Sunday, he took the scout team first, not scout team, the walkthrough first team reps. So he's going to push to play, but he's got to convince them that this isn't going to aggravate and become a long-term thing. They don't want to turn this into another 4 to 6 week injury. He's got to really show them that he is fine. This won't turn into something that will elongate for them. But even if he looks healthy tomorrow night, there's still that question, do we sit him down another week? So here's the thing. He's pushing to play. He really is. And from what I understand, he looked really good earlier this morning, but it still is going to be, I think, an organizational decision. Do we really let him go, even if we see that he looks great, or we let him rest another week? So that's going to come down, I think, really to game time.
Maybe that gives you some insight into the golf cart ride between Mike Brown, the Bengals owner, and Joe Burrow. Like, hey, man, I'm not trying to lose you for 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
Some late-breaking news on a Sunday morning. Love this question. Usher gets announced as the Super Bowl halftime performance. The guy that's been around a lot of Super Bowls. Who are your top 3 Super Bowl performances?
Well, Usher's my dude. I just want to say this. Usher is my guy. Stray and I, a couple of years ago, told him we were in Mexico. We ran into him in Mexico, and Usher's like, I really want to come to the NFC Championship game with you guys. And we're like, sure. He's a big Falcons fan. He's like, if somehow the Falcons make it, you guys got to let me come. We're like, no doubt, but as long as you're like my assistant, my sideline assistant. Yeah. So you got to hold my energy drinks. You got to hold my little pad. You got to hold this. And sure enough, the Falcons make it. And we kept our end of the bargain.
No way.
And Usher came out, and he was my little sideline assistant. And I would like put my drink over here, like right over here, and be like,
hey man.
And I would introduce him to everybody as my assistant. And I call him Usher Moskowitz. It's an inside joke between us. But I'd be like, Moskowitz. So like during the middle of, while we're on the air, our producer said, go in and like give Jay his drink and wipe his head or something like this. Hey, Mr. Glazer. And I just saw him kind of walking in toward it. And I'm like, oh my God. He has no idea that we're live, not knowing that they put him up to this. And I just say out loud on camera, Moskowitz, we're live, get out of the shot. And people are like, why did he just call him Moskowitz? Again, another inside story there. But so I love that Usher's in there. I love it. I think my favorite though was U2 after 9/11.
My hometown of New Orleans, actually. Which seeing Beyonce and Destiny's Child reunite in New Orleans, that does it for me. But I think any Super Bowl halftime conversation has to include Prince playing in the rain. Also an amazing one.
No doubt.
Jay Glazer, love these chats, man. Appreciate the time so much. Ask Glazer.
Next time.
Use the hashtag.
I'm dressing down. You're dressing up.
I will dress it up. Absolutely. Appreciate you, sir.